And we are rolling on the first day of March here at UCLA, where it's a beautiful day. The sunshine is shining, as it usually does. And we're about to hear from Thomas.
It's Tommy.
It's Tommy, yeah, don't call me Thomas, who will give us an impromptu speech on the following quotation. You have enemies? Good. This means you have stood up for something sometime in your life. By Winston Churchill.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tommy.
Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Thomas.
So I want to start off with a couple of questions. Do any of you have enemies? You don't need to respond. But why would somebody hate you? Do you hate anyone? I want you guys to ponder about that while I give my speech. So today I will be presenting on the quote from Winston Churchill. You have enemies, good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life. So my position on this quote, I agree with it. And I will give 3 examples of why this is the case. So the first example I will use is Martin Luther King Jr. He's a great man. My second example is from my own personal life when I stood up for something and that created enemies for me. And also the great UFC superstar Conor McGregor. I'm sure some of you may know him. He's a very controversial figure, but very popular. So I'm going to start with, why is this significant? I'm sure all of us have felt like we needed to stand up for something at some point in our lives. We all know that when you speak up, sometimes that can create tensions between others and that can create enemies. So that's why I think this is like an important topic for everyone to at least pay attention to.
Good.
So, my first example, Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights leader. He fought for a lot of things. He fought for civil rights. He wanted no segregation between blacks and whites. He wanted people to judge based on character rather than the color of their skin. He did many things that seemed very positive for our country, but not everyone saw in this light. He created enemies. Many people hated him, and eventually he was assassinated by his enemies. I think it's important to note that this man is now known as one of the great civil rights leaders of our country, and it's really important to realize that even if you're trying the best to do something positive, that can create enemies. So my second example is myself. Around 3 years ago, my mother was very sick. She had a mental illness known as schizophrenia. And a couple of her sisters didn't really believe what she was going through. My mom was hearing voices. She thought people were trying to attack her. A lot of people, family members, didn't believe her. They said she was putting up a front, trying to get attention, trying not to work. But she went to the hospital and she was certainly diagnosed with this. I stood up for her in front of her sisters and all the people that were criticizing her. And I took a couple of time off from school, a couple of months off from school because of this. I had to take care of her, and I stood up for her. That's really important for me. This created a bit of tensions between me and some of the people in our family, and to this day, sometimes I don't really get along with these certain people, but I knew what I did was the right thing, and it was a very important thing to me, my mother's health. And so finally, my third example is the mixed martial arts superstar fighting in the UFC, known as Conor McGregor. Now, Conor McGregor is very controversial. He's known for being very brash. He might not say all the correct things. He's known for trash-talking his opponents and getting in their head. But he stands behind what he says. And that has created enemies for him in the sport. It has also created an absurd amount of fans. And he's probably the most recognized fighter in the UFC today, other than perhaps Ronda Rousey. He was I wouldn't say necessarily a positive example, but he certainly is an example that fits with this quote. He has created enemies because of this, because he stands up for his fighting style, for his techniques, for, being this great athlete. And if you guys don't know, he's fighting this Saturday, so you should probably tune in. So, to summarize, these have been the three examples that why I believe that this is certainly a good quote to learn and try to apply to one's life. I'm not saying people should go out and, look for enemies, but you should stand up for what you believe in. So there should be no doubt that in this room, that quote is very valid and has a big significance within everyday life. And thinking about those enemies that you might have, it's okay to have those enemies. It means you stood up for something. Thank you.
Thank you. 546, you liked what?
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Bazillion.
Hey,
Hi, Michael.
I really liked your emotional appeal. I think the examples you gave, your 3 points, were, they supported your argument very well. So, especially moving was your second point about your mother having schizophrenia. I think you kind of caught me by surprise. It was almost unexpected. Whereas I'm listening, and then bam, schizophrenia. You got my attention. So I guess it wasn't intended, but it happened anyways, and I liked how your argument was supported with good examples.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Michael.
Hi, my name is
Can
Greg.
he grow? Hi, Greg.
Just to add on to what Michael said, I know I have to say something. I have to point out something that you can go on to, but I mean, your speech was really well for being something that was on the dot, on the fly. You really emotionally connected with me, especially when you talked about your mother's situation, and you kind of broke the pattern in a sense. I think I would be speaking for the whole class. You really connected with us emotionally. What you could do better is maybe I want to say be a little more dynamic. I would say just dynamics. Other than that, I believe there's something that you can improve on. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Tommy, I really liked your speech. I thought it was your best one that you've done. I think you need to still work on vocal variety and speed and pace. Big overarching picture. I'm not a big fan of rhetorical questions as your opening. It doesn't give you a lot to tie back to, but you could have asked the question again and personalized it to the people. Your thesis preview was good. We knew where you were going. Your SIG statement almost got skipped, but didn't. So that was good. Got that in. Your first one about Martin Luther King, we needed a little bit more detail. I think we all sort of knew he made a lot of enemies. He made an enemy of Johnson when he opposed the war. He had an enemy of J. Edgar Hoover. There were a lot of enemies of most white people because he was rocking the boat. So a little more detail there. And it's too late for Tommy, but not for the rest of you, to return to the quote at the end of each segment. And so that's why in the case of Martin Luther King, he had enemies. Good. He stood up for something. And he stood up for something sometime in his life. But there's a second person that stood up, and that was me. See? And then return to the quote the second time. Yes, a second story was your best story. It was unexpected, making this your very sticky, fulfilling both an emotional connection and being unexpected. Would have emphasized a little bit more the enmity or the enemies that you made of your family and your sisters in sticking up, so you were a little more, sticking to the quote. Well, your third one was light-hearted, I guess. Not a big fan of this or any of the fighting, but it did fit. I guess he stood for something. I guess it's his fighting style. The others were standing up for something a little more majestic and, noble. But nonetheless, it did fit the pattern of organization. 546 could have used a little bit more time, and that could have come in your development stage of your speech. I would say, when you ask people about what do you stand for? You remember we had that speech early on when I showed you the young lady that spoke at graduation and talked about, are you building your resume, or are you building your eulogy? What are you working on? I think this is particularly pertinent to this kind of question here, because people are going to remember when the stands you've taken when they're writing your eulogy. Okay? Thank you very much. Good job. Okay. You want to do it again?
Sure.
What?
We should have him do it. Oh, yeah. Since he just did.
Oh, I'll have him do it. Okay, good. Close your eyes. Now guide your finger. Put it down right between there. Okay, you put it on Anthony Babahanian.
Sorry, I didn't get a chance to sign up for an impromptu, but I was the last person to give a speech last week, and but I looked at the sheet, so
Big zero. Okay.
I can go though.
Put you someone else.
No, I'm ready to go.
On an impromptu you haven't signed up for? How are you going to do it?
I knew who didn't sign up for the sheet, because a classmate remembered who didn't sign up for what. So I didn't write my name down. I didn't write my name down.
You chose one.
I chose one. Yeah.
Okay, come here and show me which one you've chosen. There, you can put your selection in green. Yeah. Oh, you're in the same boat?
Kinda. No, for me,
You've never signed up? Hope you're not chosen today.
I mean,
So go ahead and sign up.
no,
Do it quickly, huh?
for me, the
You're
problem.
holding up life here.
The problem is, I thought I signed up for this, but someone else did, so I prepared for speaker 3, round 1, but.
That's taken. Okay, here. You're delaying the class.
Yeah.
We'll do this at the end. Okay.
Myself.
Hang on just a minute, please. Just a moment, please. Okay. Would you kindly put it on the board again? Would you mind? Thank you. Okay, I'm going to give you a softball because... Okay, I've chosen speaker 3 for you to speak on. It is not in the pursuit of happiness that we find fulfillment. It is not in the pursuit of happiness that we find fulfillment. It is in the happiness of pursuit. By Dennis Waitley.
How do you spell that last name? W-H?
W-A-I, isn't it W-A-I-T-L-E-Y. Just a moment, I need to pull out some more impromptu blanks. Okay, this is Anthony Baba Fanian. Okay, sir. And we are now rolling, and we are about to hear Anthony enlighten us on it is not the pursuit of happiness that we find fulfillment. It is in the happiness of pursuit. Oh, and you wore a white shirt today. Thank you. Okay, rock and roll.
Each and every one of us in this room is in some way seeking fulfillment. Each and every single one of us. Oftentimes, we seek this through different means. We seek fulfillment through school. We seek fulfillment through sports. We seek fulfillment through a job. Congrats, Bog, you got into UCLA. Congrats, Elsie, you won the state championship. Congrats, Greg, you just made $250,000 last year. Each and every one of these things is somehow fulfills a desire that we have. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys 3 examples of how this quote can be used in fulfillment. It is not in the pursuit of happiness that we find fulfillment. It is in the happiness of pursuit. So why does any of this matter to us? Well, like I said, we're all seeking fulfillment. We live difficult lives, and we often forget about things that really matter to us. The 3 examples I'm going to give to you today involve my family members. The first is my uncle, the second is my father, and the third is my mother. All 3 found themselves found fulfillment not in the pursuit of happiness. Well, in the pursuit of happiness they found happiness in their pursuit. So the first example I'm going to be talking about is my father. 30 years ago, my father left his home country of Iran. He was born in a village far, far out of the city, with odds stacked against him. My father decided that school was his passion. That was his fulfillment. He worked hard, he passed his exams, and he ended up going to University of Tehran in Iran, which was at the time, and still is, a very difficult university to be admitted into. My father struggled, worked hard, worked a job, and in the end, he found himself. And he found himself through the means of hard work. The hard work itself showed him what it meant to be him. And being himself was truly the most important thing about him. The second example I'm going to be talking about is my uncle. My uncle also left Iran a little over 30 years ago. He traveled to the United States, which through a very difficult road. Before the Iran-Iraq War, my uncle was taken out of the country through Afghanistan. And in a very difficult journey. He spent nights wandering through forests, wandering through roads to get to freedom, to get to the United States. Eventually, he arrived by boat to the United States and established himself here in this country. And through these means, he found himself. He found what it meant to be a man. He found what it meant to be a family person. And he found out what it meant to be fulfilled. The third example I would like to talk about is my mother. My mother also, I'm guessing you guys have figured out the pattern by now, was born in Iran.
3.
Now in Iran, it was tremendously repressive against women. My mother had to fight in order to go to school. She stayed up nights, she worked a job, and finally she was admitted to university. She ended up studying mathematics. As she earned her degree and finally made her way to the United States, and had me, thankfully, she realized that what really mattered to her was staying home and taking care of me. So the happiness that she found couldn't have been established without the pursuit of what she thought was fulfillment. She thought a degree in mathematics was going to provide her with that fulfillment. But what really fulfilled her life was taking care of me and helping me out, and helping me get to where I am today. Her fulfillment was in my success. In summary, I have given you guys 3 examples of why it is not in the pursuit of happiness that we find fulfillment. It is in the happiness of pursuit. The pursuit we need to give more credit to. We need to stop and realize the road that we have taken. Enjoy the classes we're taking. Enjoy the path. Enjoy the difficulties. The long nights of writing a 25-page midterm. Pays in massive dividends. In conclusion, I just want to remind you guys that the road that we have chosen to take will provide us with fulfillment. But each and every single one of us will arrive at our end goal in a separate way. Thank you.
Six 6:05. Okay, we're here. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Ethan. I really enjoyed how you made personal connections to us from the beginning, where you referenced different classmates and like with questions and answer, and also how you mentioned like the 25-page essay and then like how we might have struggled writing that, like but how that could later be like beneficial for us.
So it made an allusion to an experience that everyone has had and they could identify with. So that was good. it showed that he was listening as other people shared experience, like Elsie humbly telling us she was state champion. Okay, yes, please.
Hi guys, my name is Vahak.
Hi,
I just want to add something to that. I really like the stories of your family. I'm pretty sure there's people in the room whose parents also immigrated here, so it connects very well. One thing that I would just say to improve on is sort of like the eye contact. When you're on this side of the room, you're more focused on like us. I don't know if you like us more or not, but you gotta look at everybody.
That's a good comment, yes. Well, Anthony, let me give you some feedback. You could have used another minute, 15 seconds. Again, I would have wished and liked that my overarching thing was it was a decent speech. I would have liked you to have strayed outside of your family. It was pretty one-dimensional in that sense. They all, came from Iran and, struggled and made it. And those were inspiring words and stories, don't get me wrong, but they were the same example 3 times. You did give us a preview. Your significant statement was okay. Your father, you finally got around to sharing the second part of the quote, which is, see, the second part of the quote is what gets it. It's in enjoying what you're doing at the time and forgetting about this long-term goal way down the road, but enjoying the struggle at the time, enjoying doing what you're doing every moment of every moment. And that's really what this author was trying to get at. I was also wondering, did you do any research on this author to find out who he was, to see, to give your audience some background on him? Is he a writer? Is he a popular star? Is he, what is he? Did you find out? You didn't do any research on him?
No, I didn't do
Okay.
any research on the actual author. What I tried to do was take the quote for what it was. Just
Okay.
like feel what it means to me and how I can,
Okay, well you did that clearly. Of your 2 examples, I thought your uncle was the most vague in terms of him, of the example you gave of him enjoying the happiness of the pursuit. That wasn't as clear to me as the first and the third one. Yeah. Other than that, I think you did a good job and you got the job done. You were fairly fluent. I would have had some variety. Did you think of having something unexpected in here that would make it sticky?
The beginning is what I wanted to get everyone to kind of zone into the speech and feel the personal connection to the speech. That's why I called individual people out.
I think you did that nicely, and I think I was hoping that at the end that you would say something more about, and so as you continue to seek fulfillment, I hope, Elsie, you get 2 more state champions and chips and on like that. So that, you tied more vividly back to your introduction. But overall, you did a nice job. Thank you. Okay. You ready to choose the next person?
Can I go next?
Yeah, if you're chosen next. You don't even have 3 topics. How can you go next? You close your eyes. Bring your finger up and down the page. Go wherever you want to stop. You're stopping there. Sharon Byron.
Oh, it's not here today.
The big 0. Okay, do it again. Okay, stop there. Bahag.
Woo! Yeah.
Wait a minute, let me give her a 0.
Don't speak with me on the first page.
Just a minute, please. Sharon. Okay. Very good.
So you want me to write the thing again?
Yes, please. Would you mind? It's good pen. You have good penmanship.
Thank you, but I think it's terrible.
Well, improve it then today. Okay. I'm sorry, Vaha, you're speaker 3 on the first page, right? Yes, there you are. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to hear the first one, a short quote. We do not remember days. We remember moments. We do not remember days. We remember moments. And that's by Cesar Pavase, is that right?
It's Cesare Pavese.
Pavase, okay. V-E-S-E.
There's an E after that one,
V-E-S-E.
P-A.
V-A.
V.
P-A-V-E-S-E. Okay. And we are rolling on an impromptu speech on the following quotation. We do not remember days, we remember moments. Speak, Vahag.
Hi everyone, my name is Vahag.
Hi, Vahag.
I need all you guys to do something. Close your eyes and think about the fondest memories of your life. Whether it was you were a child, or whether it was in your 20s, teenage years, whatever it is. What is it that you remember? Is it the images? Is it the events? Is it the things that were going on? Or was it rather the date? For me personally, it was the events. Now open your eyes. Whenever I close my eyes and I think about events that have happened in my life, I don't recall the date. I don't say, oh yeah, it was on April 18th that this happened. Oh, it was on this. No, I remember the specific details and the specific events. How was the weather? What was I wearing? What exactly occurred? And this is exactly what this quote is talking about. We do not remember days, we remember moments. Or the words stated by Cesare Pavese, an Italian poet. Now, this message resonates with me significantly because this is what all of our lives are about. We're not a history book, right? We don't have a whole set of memories of exact dates. Sure, we remember our birthdays, the death of our loved ones, but even then, we remember the great moments that we spent. I, for one, can recall my 18th birthday when I was like, woohoo, I'm finally an adult, or my 21st. And I also can recall the death of my grandfather. Sure, I remember the day I go to his funeral. We went to his funeral, and I also went to put flowers, right, every time. However, it is the moments that I shared with these people. It is the moments that I recall best. Now you may be asking, why is this significant? Well, each one of us experiences this every single day. Now, from a month or 2 months, even a year, you're probably not going to remember what happens in this class. You'll think about the moments of something significant happens today in your lives. You're not going to remember, oh, it was on March 1st that the professor called on me to do an impromptu. No, you're rather going to remember if you either messed up or did very well. You're probably going to remember if you messed up because that's always going to bug you for the rest of your life. Now I'm going to present 3 details why I think this quote is spot on. The first one is around the concept of Disneyland, the most magical place, right? I for sure don't remember when I went to Disneyland when I was a kid, but I remember the details. I remember the fireworks. I remember seeing Mickey Mouse. I remember taking these photos. I remember going on the rides. And all of these things, still to this day, are like engraved in my brain. I could
clearly recall this, and I'm sure it's the same for every single one of you. Whether it was Disneyland, or you went to Six Flags, any attraction place, any place you went to in your life like that, you're going to remember that more than the date, because these are like truly, truly magical events. My second point, which I want to discuss, is the concept of love. Now, I don't know if any of you have fallen in love in your life, but I, for one, don't recall the day when I saw the girl and I was like, wow, that's the girl that I really like. I can detail exactly what happened, and it was in high school, and I remember we had class together, and as soon as I looked at her, it's like something just clicked, you know? And I don't know if you guys experienced this, but I for one, don't remember the exact day it happened. I just remember the event which took place. I could tell you exactly what she was wearing, what class we were in. It was history, and it was very boring overall, but it's the event that which mattered, right? And the same thing with other people. So if you think about it, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend and you are truly in love, that's what you remember. You can't recall the exact day. You're not going to say it's September 17, it is this or it is that. It is the event which matters, and it is the event which we remember. The third point which I want to discuss is a traumatic event which has occurred in my life, and also it might have occurred in your lives. The day might be going great. You wake up, you eat cereal, you eat breakfast, whatever you're having. Sunny day as always here in California. Things are going good, and bam, something bad happens. For me, it was a phone call that my grandfather had passed away. Now, I remember the day because that's what a good grandson should do, right? However, I remember the events. Whenever I heard that my grandfather had passed away, it wasn't the date that mattered to me, right? It wasn't that he just had died. It was all those great experiences, the events, the things that we had done together, which mattered to me most. And that's what I remember till this day. Another great story is when I was in middle school. Again, I got up, same 7 a.m. every day, had the usual Armenian breakfast that happens at my house every time. I go to class, we go to recess, everything is all good. We begin to play basketball, and I was knocked and I hit my head on the ground. Now, I don't remember the date, but I know for sure I had a concussion there because I did not remember anything for the next 5 minutes. All I remember, I woke up in the nurse's office and I was like, how the hell did I get here, right? And to this day, every time I lay down and whenever I'm doing an activity, I always have that fear in the back of my head that when I remember that event, wow, what if again I fall and I don't remember what happened in that 5 minutes? Something scary. In summary, I've shown you 3 examples of our lives why I think this quote, "We do not remember days, we remember moments," is true for each and every one of us. 1 is the concept of Disneyland, or great magical experiences. 2 is the experience of love, when you fall in love for the first time. And 3rd, a traumatic experience such as mine when I found out my grandfather had passed away. In conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room that this quote is significant and relates to us every single time. Now you might say days and memories and events correlate with one another. I will agree with you on that. However, events always trump dates because events are what we experience and we have an emotional connection with. Overall, I think everybody should reflect on this quote because it is something that each one of us is able to relate to, for one. And number 2, I think this quote is significant for students like us because we're not going to remember the exact day that we graduate. We're not remember the exact dates that we went to class. Rather, we're going to remember the experiences and the events which happened in the school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 6:38.
Hi everyone, my name is Lala.
Hi, Lala.
I think you did a great job. I think this was your best speech out of all 3. You really improved with your eye contact and your vocal variety. I think you did a great job.
Improvement.
Hi everyone, my name's Tommy.
Hi, Tommy.
Overall, your speech was great. It's hard to think about something that we can improve on. I would say, I don't think it's such a problem, but maybe the story at the end where you hit your head, maybe it kind of diminished your grandpa's story a bit. I don't know, maybe that could be something you could improve on, but I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay. Liked your speech. too thought you've shown improvement throughout. You used your time wisely. You did a close your eyes. As I told Elsie, I'm not a great fan of that, but it's okay. I was hoping you'd have us close our eyes again and you remember another moment, or do some kind of vivid tie back to the, and the most vivid thing you did. I didn't get a real vivid preview from you of love and the death of your grandfather and that I didn't get it highlighted enough with your voice that it stood out, so I had a real good roadmap of where you're going. But I did like your examples. I thought they were excellent. I liked the magic that you remember from Disneyland or from Magic Mountain, that sort of thing. Would like you also to remember to go back to the topic, and it's the moments. Remember, not the day, the moments. I don't know if you are a fan of 60 Minutes or not, but the lady that was on Cheers, I forgot her name now. She has a memory that she remembers dates. It's rather extraordinary. There's about 10 people in the world that can remember everything they did on a particular date. And it's a very interesting configuration in the mind. But most people don't. Most people's minds aren't configured in date-wise, but moment-wise. And you could have, but it would have been it would have been boring, but you could have talked about some sort of physiological or psychological reason why it's so that we're moment-to-moment individuals. Liked your second story of the love connection and the story of the moments that you spent with your grandfather. Your significant statement could have been a little bit more trended toward the audience. You did come back to it at the end, and that was pretty good. And what is an argument for? I see my question. This is just a digression. What is an Armenian breakfast?
Oh, well, it varies on the weekly, but so usually you would just like the most basic thing you will have is hard-boiled eggs with the tarragon, I guess. In Armenian it's called tarfun. Then you would have like so-called like Russian style like hot dogs that are boiled as well. And then you would have the Armenian cheese, and then you would have all the vegetables that are laid out. And then you would have tea, and then unless you like coffee, but most Armenians stick to tea and then coffee afterwards. And then there's another one like it's called the pomidor zvaza, which is pretty much like tomatoes and eggs in this weird, delicious thing that Armenians make.
Okay, I think I got the idea. It's definitely not bacon and eggs,
No,
right?
it's not bacon.
Bacon and eggs. Okay, good.
Sure it is.
Okay, well, thank you so much. You did a nice job. Thank you. Okay, let's let you choose the next person. Close your eyes, run your finger up and down the page wherever you want it to be. If you're right there, stop there on Elsie Soderberg. You're the queen of the environment. You want them both on? She's the queen. Oh, there you are. Good. Thank you for not wearing white. You can come a little forward. Okay, good. That's good, yeah. Okay. Okay. We're going to hear from Elsie Soderberg. She's going to speak on the question, My Life is My Message, by Mahatma, you know how to spell that? Gandhi. My Life is My Message, by Mahatma Gandhi. Don't do this.
Oh, right.
No steepling, even though I know you feel that way.
What does this mean I feel?
It's a power thing.
Superiority.
It's the opposite
I
of
got
that.
that right. They get Gandhi right. That's the question.
It's like inverted.
Gandhi. G-N-D-I? There's no H.
Gandhi. Okay, well, it's misspelled here then. Okay, good. Okay, she stands before you managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, saying to herself, I respect my audience. Finding friendly, oh, he's got a pen in his hand, I guess that's okay. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Good morning, afternoon. My name is Elsie.
Hi, Elsie.
When I was a freshman, I used to carry my laptop everywhere in my backpack down onto campus. I didn't know that that meant that you would be doing stretches and stretching out your back for the rest of the month if you did that every single day. So this would happen. I would carry my backpack down, I would come back up, and I would let that weight off, and my back would just be so sore every time. And I saw my parents for a weekend towards the end of the quarter, when you have a lot of papers and assignments due. And this was over a tournament weekend with mock trial, as you're all familiar with now. And it was in between two rounds when I was catching up with them, and they were asking lots of excited questions like freshman parents usually do. And I was telling them all about my time here and made some offhand comment about how I was writing a paper but had to stay in my room because I didn't like carrying my laptop, and my dad asked me why, and I explained that it made my back hurt when I carried it around. It was all of 3 minutes. And I go back into the next round, and 2 hours later I see them again, and my dad's carrying a bag with the Apple logo on it. And I open the bag up, and there's a new iPad inside. In 2 hours, he'd gone and purchased me a new iPad. And I think this story illustrates my father very well. Because in the way that he lives his life, I get the message that I am loved. And it's not that he says, I love you every time he sees me, but it's actions like that, decisions he makes that communicate that message to me. So I think that when Gandhi said, my life is my message, he was right. But I also think that everyone's life is a message, whether we like it or not. Which means that your life has a message, Tommy, and your life has a message, Lala, and your life has a message, Anthony, and yours too, Greg. And this idea that my life has a message, whether I'm trying to say something with it or not, is inspiring in a way. And so the examples of lives with messages that I want to put forth are Sam Gamgee from The Lord of the Rings, Mother Teresa, and two friends named Dawn and Dave. So first, I don't know how many of you are familiar with The Lord of the Rings, but it is a wonderful, wonderful story. To give you a little context, Sam Gamgee is the best friend of the main character, the protagonist. This story is a great saga about destroying evil by taking this ring, which symbolizes evil, far away, halfway across the world, or really all the way across the world, to a volcano and casting the ring in. And it's a story of tribulations and trials and overcoming and triumph, and very classic and very good. And the focus usually is on Frodo and his perseverance to make it to the end, but my favorite character is Sam. Because Sam is always in the shadows just a little bit. But you get this sense throughout the story, which takes over a year of his life, that his life means something. Throughout the way, he makes little decisions to go with Frodo initially, to stay with him. And he continues to serve Frodo. He cooks Frodo dinner. At the end, at the movie, it's this wonderful scene. He carries Frodo up a mountain as fireballs are raining down on top of them to go cast this ring into the volcano. And at the end, he is given the story to write. So in this meta-narrative, Sam is the one who writes The Lord of the Rings to have it carried on, which I think is very interesting. You see, through decision, through decision, through decision, Sam's life tells this message of simplicity, of devotion to Frodo and to this mission that he continues to carry out. And you may say, okay, that's great. Of course his story, his life is a story. He's a fictional character. Someone can write his story. But I want you to consider Mother Teresa. I'm sure everybody here is familiar with Mother Teresa. I know I was. And there are certain words that come to mind when you think of Mother Teresa. Words like charity and love and compassion and even poor and caring. And I don't think many people know exactly what she did, which I think is interesting. She was born in Albania, and she felt called, when she was a young person, to serve the poor by becoming one of them. So she left her comfortable home, moved to Calcutta, India, and was reduced to begging and walking from door to door looking for a place to stay every night. That is a remarkable change of life path. And then throughout her time in Calcutta, she established homes for people who were dying. She established orphanages for people who didn't have any family. And what I find most remarkable about Mother Teresa is that her life was eclipsed by her message. See, most of us don't know exactly what the name of the orphanage she started was or how she went about doing that, but we know that she stands for charity and for love and for compassion. And finally, you might say, oh, well, that's Mother Teresa. Of course she has a message because she's Mother Teresa. But I want to tell you about two friends named Don and Dave. Now, Don was a teenager who grew up in Houston, Texas, and he was kind of crazy. He was the kind of kid who would bash into neighbors' houses, break into things in the middle of the night and steal things, and he would say that religion was for the intellectually naive, and was, generally speaking, a rebel kid. He also didn't have a father. And though his mom kept taking him to church, he really didn't change until he met Dave. And Dave was one of the leaders there. And Dave took attention to Don in a new way and actually suggested that Don start writing for the church newsletter. And Don did. And it was fabulous. Everybody loved it. And Dave continued to believe in Don. And Don actually ended up going to college in Portland, Oregon. He ended up becoming an American best-selling author, Donald Miller. And he's written books like Blue Like Jazz, like A Million Miles in a Thousand Years. And he actually has his own, I suppose, conference that travels around and teaches people how to live a good story. And Dave supported him throughout the entire time. See, even when Don became an adult, Dave would get adults together to read Don's books and encourage him like he was a kid all over again. Now, Dave died 3 years ago. He was lifting weights and he had a heart attack. And Don was asked to write the eulogy and deliver it at a football stadium that held all the people that came to attend Dave's funeral. And he said, I heard once that life is a sermon. And if that's so, then Dave's life was the best sermon I ever read. So not only do lives have a message in simplicity, and lives can have messages that even eclipse the life, but the life can have a message that changes other people's lives and changes the messages that they tell. So all of our lives and all of the messages that we tell with them impact one another. And I would say that's absolutely true just in my life. Look at my dad. That message that he told me when he bought me that iPad, and that he continues to do whenever he texts me or calls me or flies down from Northern California for 5 hours to have dinner to me, tells me that I am loved and encourages me to live that message too. Thank you.
7:31.
Hi everybody, I'm Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
I really liked the how dynamic you were and the unexpected stuff pounded on the table. That was good. It kind of, if there was any attention waning, you got it all back right there. But overall, you were very dynamic throughout, and not just nice changes in your delivery. I like that once the professor told you you're short on time, you kind of quickly moved into the wrap up and did that pretty succinctly and without being awkward and changing gears. Overall, I really thought it was a great job.
Good.
Thanks.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Brianna.
Hi, Brianna.
Overall, great speech. I think you gave too much time in your introduction. Like, it was a great story, and it really resonated in how we can understand love and relationships. But I think if you would have shortened that, you would have been able to really explain your last story. I kind of got a little lost in the Dave versus just lost the last.
Dave and Don.
Dave and Don. So that last example was a little confusing for me. So if you had more time for that section, I think it would have resonated better.
Good. Well, you gave a good speech, Elsie, as usual. I liked most of it. Emerson, you may have stumbled across a similar expression that he wrote when he said, "What you are speaks so loudly I can't hear what you're saying." And there's there is that way of looking at a person's life too, as their life speaks for what they are too, right? On your intro of your father, it was very touching, but I agree with Brianna. It was a little bit long and could have been shortened down, and you could have gotten to the point.
I think I was thinking other people had run short on time, so I would have enough, and then I was like, it went too far the other way.
The Lord of the Flies was okay.
Lord of the Rings, actually.
Freudian slip. Lord of the Rings was good, and I liked your line, the simplicity of devotion, and so I liked the way you brought that down to that. The Mother Teresa, I would have still liked more of bringing it back to the life is the message, the life, the message, the life, the message. You did bring it back with the sermon. I didn't get lost in your Don and Dave story, but I did get, his life is the best sermon, and I thought that was, I was slowed down and emphasized that. I realized you were running short of time, but overall, I think what did you've incorporated nearly everything that we're looking for in terms of stickiness. What did you consciously think you were doing that was unexpected?
To be honest, I didn't come up with something before going. Again, that thing was spontaneous.
Yeah.
I think that I sort of went out on a limb in assuming that something unexpected would come to me in the middle, which
good. It did, good.
Which might have not been the, I guess, most thought out thing to do on my part, but
okay, good, very good job, Elsie. Thank you. Okay, would you like to choose the next one? Close your eyes. Stop right there. It says Justin. Justin Leo.
Yeah.
You're not here. Okay, do it again.
Aim high.
Okay, she chose Tommy again.
I'm really bad at this.
This time you chose
Oh, I chose
Justin.
Justin again. Okay, no, I got this.
Okay. Baja.
Oh, man.
Okay. At the bottom. Gregory.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, are you on the list here somewhere?
Yeah, speaking of water.
Speaker 5. I don't see you somewhere. I'll see you, Gregory. Speaker 5.
On CCFA 2020.
Round one.
Where are you? Where are you? Over here. Is this you? No. Round one, impromptu. Round one, impromptu. Final round, round one, two.
Oh, I guess.
Oh, you didn't get signed up.
If anything,
Here, sign your name in there.
I made a note on mine.
Here, sign your name in there for it.
but I think Trump's gonna just cruise through. If Kasich, Cruz, and what's his name don't drop out, Carson don't drop out, it's a Trump's nomination.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This is your big day, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you're supporting, who?
Rubio.
Rubio. Yeah, I was wondering, while we're waiting, what you thought of his trying to trade insults with Trump.
Well, I think he's beating Trump at his own game.
Oh, you do? So you think he's doing a good job of that?
I think he's doing a good job. I wish it didn't have to come to this. I think he's full of policy, and that's what he's been doing for the first 10 debates.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems that Trump won't be defeated unless people fight his fight. So,
Okay.
The polls didn't change all they did.
the poll what?
Didn't change at all.
Well, I mean, there's blue
When he said Trump had small hands, was he implying that Trump has a small penis?
Well, I can't get into Rubio's head, but
Is that what was implied?
I guess so.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I thought he meant. Okay.
Wow.
I think presidential discourse has reached a new high with these two boys.
Hi.
New high, yes. Iron.
Hey, you know, I mean, that takes all the salt out of the whole not completely admonishing the KKK and David Duke. You know,
Right.
That's nothing compared to the small hands. You know, nothing.
Small hands, yeah, small hands.
Mine, 3 people got stabbed at KKK.
In Anaheim, yeah.
Anaheim, just down the road.
Okay. And we're going to hear from Gregory Yagubaya.
Yagubian.
What?
Yagubian?
Yagubian. Don't call me Yagabian. Okay, Yagubian. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have you speak to the third.
Oh, I need one with that one, please. I'm not ready for that
You're
one.
definitely getting that one. Okay, here we go. The pursuit of happiness.
We respect you, Greg.
The pursuit of happiness is a most ridiculous phrase. Shouldn't have said that. I would have changed.
You were going to stick to that one. I didn't get it away.
If you pursue happiness, your writing's getting better.
Thought it's getting worse. If you pursued happiness,
If you pursue happiness, pursue happiness, you will, like Yule Gibbons, you will never find it. By the infamous Carrie Snow.
I got that wrong.
It's C-A-R-R-I-E. It's a woman. I-E. Okay, good. Okay. Let's hear about the pursuit of happiness.
Hi everyone, my name is Greg.
Hi, Greg.
How are you all doing today?
Great.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, The pursuit of happiness is the most ridiculous phrase, and if you pursue happiness, you'll never find it. What does happiness mean for you guys? What does the pursuit of happiness mean for you guys? Well, personally, for me, the pursuit of happiness is the process that you endure, the process that you have to go through in order to attain happiness. It's the small details, not the bigger picture. It's what goes in the picture. Today, I'll be giving you three examples of my pursuit of happiness, how I have chosen to pursue happiness. Now, this is significant for all of us because we all have a goal in life, and we've all gone through many stages to get to where we are today. I mean, we're all over here at UCLA, and that's a big accomplishment for all of us. We should really segregate ourselves from others because we've taken that extra step. We've put in those long hours of study sessions. We've written 22-page midterms. We've had to improvise and make impromptus on the spot about speeches that we're not ready for. So it takes a lot to be here. To be quite honest with you guys, I wasn't the best high school student. I graduated high school with I got 2.3. I really didn't try. I mean, I wasn't a bad kid, but I just never put in the effort, and I thought that I would never get to my happiness, get to a career where I can provide economic stability for my family, for my children, make my loved ones proud, and make everyone next to me or with me stand up and have their head up high and their chins up high and walk around and use my name with great honor. Well, everything turned around for me when I thought about what it takes to get there. It's not about the big picture. It's about looking at the steps, the effort that you have to put in to get to the bigger picture. Now, ultimately, the bigger picture for me is to pursue a career in law. Well, what did I have to do that? What actions required for me to get to that next level? And I knew that I had to, first of all, get my education online. So what I did is I went to Pasadena City College. And after going to Pasadena City College, I did really well. I forgot about all my friends. It was kind of hard for me, but that's what it took to get to the bigger picture. What I did is I thought about the smaller details, the things that I had to do in order to get to the next level with that, which at that point was UCLA. And I realized that it's not about getting to UCLA, it's about deserving it. It's about putting in the work, putting in the hours. It's about making the sacrifices, and we all need sacrifices over here. Without sacrifice, you can't. It's hard to juggle social life and school life, and it's hard to stick to one another because then you're either too robotic or you're too out there and free, and it doesn't go hand in hand with one another. When I got into UCLA, that moment of getting accepted, I thought about it. I took a long pause and I thought about where I had just gotten and how 4 years had shaped my life. And what I realized is that it wasn't about getting into UCLA. And I know I've said this a couple times already, but it was about the process. It was about all the stuff that I had to do to get into UCLA. And moving forward, I told myself that from now on, it wouldn't be about the bigger picture. I would have to dissect the bigger picture. It's a lot like, biology. I would have to look at the microscopic elements that required of me to get to the bigger picture. So, all in all, I want to send a message to all of you because we're all here because we want to get to a certain goal or pursue a certain career. I know it looks really good. I know it looks really enticing. It almost makes you feel like you're right there, and you always look at the bigger picture because it gives you motivation. But I think we should all take a step back and look at how we got here and use those small elements, those minute details to continue on to getting to the bigger picture. Let's not get lost in the big picture. Let's become part of the bigger picture. Thank you.
451. I guess we're back here.
Wait.
Oh, so we skipped somebody?
Because I was up there.
Oh, we skipped you. Okay. Go for it.
I want to say that I really liked it.
Really?
Yeah, no, even, I mean, yeah, your examples were all you, but it was great. I mean, I was listening to the whole thing, and I was really, like, interested in your own dream and the steps that you took, and it's almost like, yeah, I want to, like, go get coffee and hear, like, all the little bits that happened along the way, and, I mean, for just me as a listener, I thought that the personal element of it, that was essentially 100% of the speech, was what made it really interesting to me, and so I really enjoyed it as a speech to listen to in a class.
Thank you, Elsie. Let's go here. Improvement, yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Pizoyan.
Hi, Michael.
My improvement, or at least what I would suggest to you is, I felt that the structure, you could have made it more clear cut. So, I at the end I figured out that yes, it's all you, but maybe at the beginning could have just clarified that, okay, well, this is 1 example, 2, and 3, and so I could have known what I would expect as it went along. Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, it was good.
Thank you. Let me start with the positive. For somebody that sort of, when you are in a situation where you feel that this isn't your best topic, or you're not prepared, or you're sick or something, whatever you do, don't give that away, and don't say, "Oh, I'm sick," or "Oh, give me another topic," or "Oh, I'm not ready on this one," because that lowers everyone's expectations and it hurts your credibility. But generally speaking, you gave, I agree with Elsie on one level, that you gave an interesting personal rendition of your, shall we say, your life story, and somewhat tied it to the topic. Not very artfully, not very specifically, but it was fluent, and you filled 451. So you gave an impromptu speech that was sort of on the topic. Now, when this topic said the pursuit of happiness is a most ridiculous phrase, this sort of calls for a 2-part analysis. One is rejecting that pursuit, and then secondly, if you pursue it, you'll never find it. And dealing with the second piece of advice that the topic actually gives, and I'm not sure you did that, right? So, but I think that you dealt with the notion that was sort of in the ballpark of saying, don't go for the big long thing, but deal with the little stuff as you're going along, right? That was essentially your thesis. I agree with Michael. We didn't get a preview. We got a pretty good significant statement. We didn't get a breakdown or a return to the topic in the main body. So that didn't happen. We didn't get much of a summary conclusion or a tie back to the intro. But other than that, you got it done. Thank you. Okay. We have time for one more? Yeah. Well, anybody want to go today? Oh, we'll be kicked out of here by another class. Anybody burning to go today? Okay. So, who's left with the impromptu? 1, 2, 3. Okay, good.
4.
Okay, good. And we will finish those, and then we'll do any extemps that we still have to do, plus the sort of absentees that will certainly appear to, show up for the last class meeting. Otherwise, we will meet during finals week to finish everything up, okay?
What day is that?
Wednesday.
No, it's not.
Tuesday.
You're killing me.
Tuesday, what time?
11:30.
11:30 to 2:30. Yeah.
Are we going to be able to get our first exam speeches back?
No, but you can get your scores
Where can we see those?
right now. Here, let me cover up the names. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. There you go, looking weak. That's your ID. That's your score.
Next for?
That's your ID.
Last 3 digits.
The last 3 digits of your ID.
Oh, is that what's in free? No.
So, I don't know. It's that's definitely I don't know. Sorry.
That's for the first stage?
You're good.
Yeah.
No, you're totally good.
Professor,
Yes.
I emailed you about the.
Topic?
Yeah, but you didn't respond. So should I send you another?
Yeah. Do you have your copy of your email with you?
I don't have it memorized, but.
Okay. Send it again to me.
Okay.
Yeah, Professor, same with me. I sent it to you like maybe 2 or 3 weeks
Send it
back.
again.
Send it again.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I never got a chance to?
Those are ID numbers.
Where's the roll sheet, by the way?
Oh, I don't know mine. It's mine. I don't even know.
So, someone said, Mohammed said yes. Somebody, who else said maybe? Tommy is a maybe. What's maybe mean?
I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure if I'll be available, but I'll try.
When
I'll
would
make an
you
effort.
know? You'll make an effort? Okay. Shall I send you some material on it?
Yeah, it's
I'll email you.
Okay, good.
it's something.
How long are you going
It's
to be?
something to be part of.
The 12th.
The 12th? Okay. And I already did the last
Yeah, of course.
This is
I'm,
your third
I'm losing
step
time
3.
over this too, so.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll just accept. Okay.
When are we going to start an email discussion about that?
There's another class trying to come in here now.
Where are you going for?
We can talk now. that we got a little time. Let me just give this to everybody. You want to sign up?
Really?
Okay.
I'm not, but.
I never thought you would be a conservative. With your environmental policy too. It's like,
Yeah, he had you picked for a screaming liberal. Why would you pick her one way or the other? How does that work?
It makes sense.
with me.
Oh, because she's a quality, she's a UCLA student, and most of them
That's
are
one,
liberals.
and two, the whole environmental.
The rail.
Well, yeah. For example, you were for it.
Don't walk away with that.
Cruz. It takes something to be a Cruz supporter. He's my number 2. So.
What is he calling little baby Cruz, or what is he calling him? Little Johnny Cruz, or what's his first name? Little Marco, or baby Marco, or something.
That's what Trump calls Marco. Yeah.
Little Marco Cruz.
Say them because they're not
Lightweight.
from.
Marco's been called lightweight. A boy. It's funny.
Little boy Cruz, little boy Marco.
That's complicated for a person that's
Professor,
probably Democrat.
how many points is extra
But
credit?
I would vote for him.
What?
if he jumped
How
in,
many
but of
points
course
is the
he
extra
didn't.
credit worth?
You know, for some reason,
Couple hundred.
politicians
Couple
love
hundred?
missing their moments. You know, to jump.
Really?
Unless they're Trump. So there's
The first one is
Are we
what?
talking about Biden?
What about the China one?
Actually, I'm talking about Biden
100.
and Romney. Now, I could have casted it. to
And this
the
is
general
100
ballot
points,
for
right?
either one
The
of
first
them.
speech is 100
You know,
points.
I can't support anyone.
So have you changed your
I'm gonna
mind about
regretfully
judging?
cast my ballot.
Oh no, I already judged the first speech. I was considering doing this. I mean, the first debate. I was considering
It's gonna be.
doing the one this weekend.
But
so.
Romney, if he, I wish he did jump in.
We'd love to have you
Thank you. The address, where can I get that from?
for the
It's funny,
tournament.
For that, so,
my
yeah.
mom is
Did you
Republican,
tell me you were doing
Yes, I
it?
told you I'm like
Okay.
more than 50,
in our
less
house
than
growing up,
70% sure.
Where are you
Always
on
like-
here?
I'm right here.
Oh, it was always
Then-
a discussion.
As long as-
It wasn't like
if I finish my
it wasn't like
policy
I was,
brief,
talking
I'll be
in
there.
one way. And I think we
Set
had political discussions
address.
in my house growing up maybe all of 3 times.
Judging
It
tape.
didn't make a difference to them that one was one way, one was the other. But it was really cool because, I'd ask a question as a little kid does, like, why are cigarettes illegal? And, as people go say, well, let's
Well,
do it this
but
way and
the
that way.
big
And
day
so,
is Saturday.
I guess
There's only
when people ask me,
2
like, oh,
rounds
you
on
Democrat, and I say,
Friday,
like, an
so
issue, and I'll tell you
we
what I
should,
think
if you're
about
gonna
it.
drive up that far, you can come for Saturday. There's only 2 rounds on Sunday.
It's only one day. I mean,
Okay.
Saturday's the day after work.
Conservative on the other side.
That's why I put
the
no.
opposite campaign.
Yeah.
I'll do Friday.
You just have to have respect for
what time is it starting?
Yeah.
It starts at 5 on Friday and it starts at 8 on Saturday.
8 in the
I think
evening
it
or
also
the
In
depends
the
on
morning.
what degree of centrality.
Yeah, we have hotel
Like,
rooms
if
if
you're
you
looking
need a
at kind
place
of like, I
to
am
stay.
Republican or conservative, but then obviously somebody
you
who
wanna come up the
identifies
night
very
before.
strongly as like
On Friday?
Democrats would
Yeah.
be more of a clash.
So you
Their
guys can
parents were
accommodate a
so
place for me to
far
stay?
Yeah.
apart, it's not even
Okay,
close.
so maybe I'll come Friday night.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Just let me in. I'll come Friday night
Okay, great.
Democrat or
and Saturday. And it's the whole day?
Whole day, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. Perfect.
What time does it finish? I can know what time
Party
I'm
loyalty.
getting back home.
Polarization.
They're always
6.
wrong. They're never
6
right
in
on
the
that.
afternoon and evening?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so like a 2-hour drive, I'll be home at 8.
That's a 3-hour
3-hour
drive.
drive, I'll be
Yeah.
home at 9. That's fine.
Country that
Okay.
wants, you know,
I'm gonna go. Yeah.
You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful place, SLR. Have you ever been there?
I've been to Santa Barbara a couple times.
Well,
My
it's
friends
even prettier than Santa Barbara.
Okay.
do about
Yeah.
gun control.
Make laws to make
Okay, yes.
I just wanted to make sure the wording for my brief is okay. I'm going to do this house believes that we should not close Guantanamo Bay.
Should not, yeah, that's good, yeah. The U.S. federal government should not close Guantanamo Bay. Good,
Good.
perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. If you want to send me an email confirming that, that'd be okay too.
Okay.
You don't have
Yeah,
to.
mental health course, and that's not American either. You know, it's like,
Okay.
Do we have to go for all 3 days to get extra credit?
No, but you have to go for the big day, Saturday.
Saturdays.
I think that's up too, except I'm on the other side. I like that.
So you're a flaming liberal, huh?
I'm down.
Also,
It
apparently I got
depends
a
on
state championship
the
or
other work I
something.
have to do.
that's right.
Yes, 2K championship. Yeah, you're amazing.
Somebody say
Who needs to remind me of when this happened?
Which I was ready for.
Alright, I gotta go to class. Alright, see you guys next
Yeah,
week.
we had an alum. We honored this fella from the 30s for an alumni of the year, and I had a student do some of the legwork research, so I just relied on her that it was true. And so he told me later, he says, some of that, he goes, I never did, but I would just let it go. I was just amazed that you told me I accomplished all this. And I said, you know, we're students in some of the research. So he said, well, that's cool. You
Oh
know.
my gosh. Oh, by the way, the video you showed us, Ian Lampert?
Yeah, I know Ian Lambert.
Yeah, he was my captain when I was a freshman on mock.
Yeah, he's a god. I really respect him.
I've never seen a better public speaker.
No, he's great.
As in,
Did
like,
you
on the
watch?
fly.
Did you watch this thing on our website?
Oh yeah, and I mean we would compete in rounds together, so I've seen him deliver speeches countless times.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
He's amazing.
yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
Professor, for the policy brief,
yeah.
just how specific do you want the question to be? Like,
Well, I want it to be very short and very specific. U.S. federal government, like she just gave me one, the U.S. federal government should not close Guantanamo. That's how specific I want it.
If I say like the federal government should ban the use of GMOs in foods, is that all right?
The U.S. federal
It's
government.
stupid, but yeah, it's all right.
Well, Europe does it.
I want to read that.
Yeah, okay. So you want to ban all GMOs in foods?
Well, until there's scientific research on it, because
Okay, well, you have a skeptical audience, but yeah, go for it. Actually, maybe I'll have you take the other side.
no, I don't have a side. I'm just interested because
No, I'll have you do the other side since you already believe that way.
I don't think I do believe that way. But
Yeah, I'll have you take the other side.
so we shouldn't ban the use of GMOs now.
Right, they save a lot of lives, and they're going to feed Africa. You know, they're good. GMOs are good things.
So why has Europe banned it? You think?
Yeah, it's just Europe. You know, is Europe some role model for me?
Hey, Denmark people are apparently the happiest on earth, so there's something.
But then
Well,
have to pay a ton in taxes.
Yeah, I mean it's true.
Yeah.
Hey, but
Okay,
my
so-
German
so
friends,
that's
they
your
study for
topic,
free,
US federal
so
government.
no worrying about student loan debt.
Right, but
Yeah, so the U.S. federal
Well, a lot more
government,
than we do, but do they
Is
have
that more
less
just
of
in
that
the
stuff
death
hanging over their head?
penalty
the U.S. federal government should
Germany?
promote GMOs, should
Oh,
promote
Denmark?
genetically modified
And
food.
if I wanted to take some
That'd be a
more
good one,
Really?
yeah, that'd be a
Okay.
good one for you.
Yeah, they're so.
They're like
How
so
about
trade
anything
dependent.
towards the death
I don't know if
penalty?
it's
Yeah, but that's
is it a
boring
massive
and that's
trade? I'm
done a
Michael,
lot.
I
But
don't
yeah.
I don't know if it's a massive trade deficit
Mhm.
to us, or they just have a massive
Yeah.
deficit. I don't know.
Okay,
I
interesting.
look into the
Professor,
details
with
of it.
regards to the
I
format of the
remember
policy
that.
brief,
I also
Yeah.
heard
do you want it
somebody
to be
who
just like
interviewed on
how we've
radio
been
when
turning
he
in
went
our
to Denmark, and they
ex-temp?
asked, so why are
No,
people
I
Denmark
want you to follow
He goes,
this
if the United States was to Denmark, they would be happy. But people in Denmark just have
Yeah,
really
I
low
remember seeing that.
expectations.
Okay, I'm trying to get out of here, so just be a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all you've seen in your entire life.
Exactly. Then yeah, that was when I was thinking about moving into different apartments with my friends. I was kind of pushing for guys. If we live in the cheapest and kind of dingiest apartment right now, then anything after this is just gonna be a palace. So you know, we're college students. Why
And
not
by
do
the way,
it?
Professor, I
That's
forwarded
smart.
it, so you should have it in your
Hey, do the hard stuff
Okay.
first.
This part, we don't need this. This will come in your needs statement.
Okay.
So the state of California should implement a comprehensive statewide plan to close the academic achievement gap. Okay. So that's all you need to say. Is that going to be? Is this going to be K-12? Is that the?
Yeah. Yeah.
K-12. Okay. And what would be the comprehensive statewide plan? You have an idea?
I've got a lot of. I've got some ideas like normalizing funding across the state instead of by local property taxes to the local school.
Yeah.
Schools.
Okay, just take out that last sentence, add in K-12, and that's fine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor.
You're welcome. Bye. This is your third extemp, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me file it away before it gets lost.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye. So, we have a lot to do in 2 hours.